For centuries, the Dyson sphere had been a ghost on the edge of human knowledge, a massive, star-encompassing structure discovered in 2146 but left untouched out of fear. It was the most colossal object ever found, orbiting a dead star beyond the Orion Arm, and no one knew who built it, or why it had gone silent. Now, after decades of preparation, humanity was finally sending a crew to pierce its mysteries. The USS Venture, a long-range exploration vessel, carried a dozen of Earth's brightest minds. Its commander, Captain Michael Rains, had been chosen because he didn't scare easily. But as the sphere's impossible, lightless surface swallowed the stars around them, even he felt a creeping dread. Somewhere inside that cosmic tomb, secrets were waiting, secrets that might rewrite everything humanity knew about life, technology, and the fate of civilizations. And some secrets, the crew would soon learn, do not want to be found. The Dyson sphere filled the entire viewport. Even after 3 days of deceleration, it still looked impossibly vast, its curved horizon stretching endlessly until it vanished into darkness. The sphere was not a world. It was something far greater, a shell so large it swallowed a star, a construct that dwarfed planets and moons alike. On the bridge of the USS Venture, every member of the crew had gone silent as they closed in. Captain Michael Rains stood at the center of the deck, his hands clasped behind his back. He had commanded warships, led peacekeeping missions, and stood under enemy fire. None of that mattered now. This was different. This was older, stranger. Approaching designated access point, reported Lieutenant Aaron Pike, his voice quiet, as though afraid to disturb the ancient colossus ahead. Relative velocity minimal. Distance to target, 50,000 kilometers. Dr. Evelyn Grant, lead astrophysicist and chief science officer, stepped closer to the forward viewport. The faint light from nearby stars glinted on her glasses. "That's it," she asked, barely a whisper. "That's it," Pike confirmed. Confirmed dimensions, 28 kilometers across. Hexagonal frame. The access hatch. Humanity's single known entry point into the sphere, first discovered by deep space probes almost 2 centuries earlier. It had never opened, not once. Until now. Rains exhaled slowly. "Bring us in closer." The Venture glided silently forward, a speck of human defiance approaching a structure so massive it could have housed every city on Earth 1,000 times over. "This is," Commander Tyler Brooks, the XO, trailed off, shaking his head. "God, Mike, do you realize what we're looking at? It's not just a relic. This thing is still here. It's survived millions of years intact." Evelyn turned, her voice carrying a quiet urgency. "And no one knows who built it, or why. That hatch has been dormant for 200 years, maybe more. It could be a warning. A quarantine. Or an invitation," Rains said. "Either way, we're the ones who have to find out." The ship's AI, Vega, interrupted softly. "Captain. I am detecting a power fluctuation at the hatch. Recommend caution." Define fluctuation. Energy levels rising exponentially. Something is waking up. Before Rains could reply, the hatch's seams began to glow. At first, it was faint, like bioluminescent veins spreading across a deep-sea creature. Then the glow sharpened, blazing lines of silver-white light carving the massive hexagon into view. "Is it?" Pike started, but the question was unnecessary. The hatch moved. It split down the center with glacial slowness, each section sliding apart until the aperture yawned wide. Beyond it lay no starlight, no shimmer of reflected glow. Only a perfect, suffocating blackness. The bridge was deathly quiet. Rain's voice was calm when he spoke, though his pulse hammered in his ears. "Take us in." The Venture crossed the threshold. The moment they breached the surface, every star outside winked out, like candles snuffed in a storm. The sphere swallowed them whole. Lighting to full, Rains ordered. Floodlights blazed to life along the Venture's hull. Their beams shot outward and vanished, swallowed by a darkness so thick it felt physical. The light reached barely a few hundred feet before dying away. There was no reflection, no sense of walls, ground, or horizon. "This doesn't make sense," Evelyn murmured. "A structure this size should have an inner surface." Gravity generators. Artificial light. But this is. Her words died in her throat. Because far ahead, something lit up. One by one, colossal orbs of light ignited in the void, each the size of a small moon. They floated in a perfect geometric pattern, connected by gleaming metallic bridges that spanned unimaginable distances. My God, Brooks breathed. It's a whole world in here. No, Evelyn whispered. Not a world. A web. Look closer. The light stabilized, revealing cities perched atop the bridges, spires of glass and crystal, streets of silver, statues the size of skyscrapers. Everything gleamed as though polished yesterday. Not abandoned. Not decayed. Preserved. Where's the movement? Pike asked quietly. No transports, no drones, no power signatures except the orbs. It's like it's waiting. The venture drifted closer, passing between two colossal pylons. The silence was unbearable, as though the sphere itself were holding its breath. Then something moved. Hold position. Rains barked. The object floated slowly past the ship, a figure, humanoid but impossibly tall, its skin pale and translucent. It rotated slowly, weightless, arms outstretched. Its mouth was open, locked in a silent scream. Evelyn's breath hitched. That's not debris. That's a body. Another figure drifted into view, and then another. Dozens of them, scattered through the void, preserved as though frozen in time. God Almighty, Brooks muttered. They didn't leave. They died. Evelyn's hands trembled as she scanned the readings. There's no decay. No cellular breakdown. Whatever field is active in here, it's keeping them intact. Rain's jaw tightened. Then this whole place is a tomb. And then a voice spoke. It did not come from the ship speakers. It did not come from any direction at all. It was simply there, resonant and calm, as though the sphere itself were speaking. You have come far, children of the outer stars, it said. But you step where no one was meant to tread. Every head on the bridge snapped up. Identify yourself, Rains demanded. I am the custodian, the voice replied. Guardian of this place, keeper of its silence. Are you alive? Evelyn asked, her voice tight with awe. I am what remains. What happened to them? Brooks asked, nodding toward the floating figures outside. For a moment, the darkness seemed to deepen. Then the voice replied, colder now. They built. They conquered. They burned everything they touched. And so we ended them. The lights flickered. Leave now, the custodian said. Seal the gate behind you. This place must remain undisturbed. Rain's voice was steady, but inside he felt a creeping chill. We came for answers. We're not leaving until we have them. There was a pause. When the custodian spoke again, its tone was different, softer, almost sorrowful. Then you will see what they became. And you will understand why no one must ever wake them. Outside, the first city bridge came alive. Lights flickered along its length. Structures shimmered with phantom movement. And then the crew saw them, not the preserved bodies, but living beings. Holographic projections played out across the bridge, showing alien figures bustling through the streets, laughing, working, building. The vision was beautiful. For a moment, no one breathed. Then the lights shifted. The projections showed fire. Explosions. Towering ships blotting out the sky. The aliens turned on each other, tearing their own cities apart. Entire bridges shattered. Millions died. Evelyn whispered, they destroyed themselves. No, the custodian corrected, its voice now hard as steel. They destroyed the galaxy. And then the holograms vanished. The sphere fell silent once more, but in the distance, something pulsed. A glow, faint at first, then stronger, deep within the heart of the sphere. Evelyn's console blared a warning. Captained massive energy spike from the core. Something's moving down there. The custodian's voice returned, now edged with something that sounded like fear. Go. Leave before they wake. Rains gripped the rail, staring into the darkness ahead. Not yet, he said grimly. We're not done here. The pulse in the distance flared again, and this time, it didn't fade. The glow from the core pulsed again, brighter now, and every instrument aboard the USS Venture spiked into the red. Energy surge climbing, Lieutenant Aaron Pike reported, his voice tight. It's... Captain, whatever's down there, it's waking up fast. On the main viewscreen, the inner web of the Dyson sphere was alive with distant light, not the cold, orderly glow of the orbs, but chaotic flashes like lightning storms erupting across the bridges. Custodian, Captain Michael Rains said sharply, what's happening? The voice answered from everywhere at once, deeper and more resonant now. They stir. The dreamers do not like to be watched. The dreamers? Dr. Evelyn Grant asked, her voice strained as she leaned forward over her console. The builders, the custodian clarified. The ones who made this place. They dream still, though their bodies lie preserved in stasis. Your intrusion agitates them. You must leave, or their awakening will begin. Commander Tyler Brooks turned to Rains, face pale. If what we saw is true, if these things burned half the galaxy, we can't just fly away. What if they wake up on their own? That is why I remain, the custodian said sharply. For the first time, there was something like emotion in its voice. I keep them dreaming. I keep them contained. Your presence weakens that containment. Then show us, Rains said, his voice calm but unyielding. Show us why you keep them locked away. Show us what we're really dealing with. The bridge fell silent. The lights dimmed. Then, without warning, the ship's entire viewport became a screen. The crew gasped as the sphere itself seemed to open its memory to them. At first, they saw beauty. A living civilization bloomed across the bridges, ships in elegant formation gliding between the orbs, alien citizens crowding marketplaces, laughter echoing through the streets. Entire moons were reshaped into cities. Stars were mined and rebuilt as power sources. The builders had turned this sector of space into a living jewel. Evelyn's eyes were wide, almost childlike. It's perfect, she whispered. The custodian's voice was calm. It was. The scene shifted. Now the cities bristled with weapons. Warships rolled off assembly lines in endless numbers. The alien citizens cheered as fleets blotted out the sky. And then the killing began. The builders' ships tore through neighboring systems, vaporizing defenses, glassing planets from orbit. They harvested survivors as though collecting livestock, dragging entire populations away. Oh my God, Pike muttered. They were conquerors. Not conquerors, the custodian said darkly. Exterminators. The holograms zoomed out. Entire star systems vanished, consumed by superweapons that tore suns apart and left nothing but darkness. The crew watched in horror as the builders turned on each other. Their great alliance fractured into factions, each unleashing more apocalyptic weapons. Stars flared and died by the thousands. Worlds cracked and bled magma until they went cold. The projection shifted one final time, showing the last stand. An alliance of alien races, hundreds of species, gathered what was left of their fleets. They fought the builders in a battle that consumed entire constellations. For every builder ship destroyed, 10 more appeared. Then came the weapon. At the center of it all, a colossal device ignited, the Dyson sphere itself. In the vision, its orbs blazed like newborn suns, unleashing waves of energy that swept through builder fleets, turning them to ash. The survivors were dragged inward, locked within crystalline pods that glowed with cold, eerie light. The custodian spoke again, its voice lower now, heavy with memory. We took their bodies. We sealed their minds in dream chambers. We bound them to the sphere so they could never rise again. That was the only way to end the slaughter. The vision faded. The bridge lights returned. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Brooks said quietly, if they wake up, they will finish what they started, the custodian said. And this time, no one will stop them. Before Rains could respond, the ship rocked violently. Sparks flew from a console. Direct energy strike. Pike shouted. But there's no weapons fire. Evelyn's eyes widened as she read her instruments. It's coming from the core. Something just overloaded our thrusters. The custodian's voice rose, louder than before. I am trying to force you out. Leave while there is still time. Rains gritted his teeth. We can't just run. If containment is failing, the galaxy needs to know. Help us, we can find a way to reinforce your systems, whatever's keeping them asleep. You think this is mechanical, the custodian said bitterly. That I am some machine you can repair? I am not code. I am will. I am sacrifice. I hold the prison together with every breath of what I once was. Rains frowned. You were one of them. The silence that followed was confirmation enough. Yes, the custodian said at last. I was a builder. I turned against my kind when I saw what we had become. When the galaxy came for us, I gave them the sphere. I became its heart. And I have kept my kin dreaming ever since. Captain, Evelyn said softly, if containment is breaking, it means he's losing control. Before anyone could answer, alarms wailed again. Reading massive resonance spikes, Pike reported, hands flying across the controls. The pods, they're reacting. Captain, we have movement down there. The view screen changed, showing a live feed of the core, the glowing lattice deep in the sphere's center. At first, it was still. Then one of the countless crystalline pods shifted, rotating slightly. Then another. And another. One by one, millions of pods lit with an eerie blue glow, until the entire core throbbed like the heart of some colossal creature. They are waking, the custodian said. Its voice trembled. I can still stop them, it said, more to itself than to the crew. But the effort will burn this place. Burn you with it. Rains didn't hesitate. If that's what it takes, do it. Brooks turned sharply toward him. Mike. No. Evelyn said at the same time. If we destroy the sphere, we lose everything, the technology, the history, the chance to learn from it. Learning means nothing if we're dead, Rains said flatly. The ship lurched as a shockwave rippled outward from the core, slamming into the venture. Consoles went dark. Engines offline. Pike shouted. We're being pulled in. Evelyn cried. On the screen, the core began to open like an enormous mechanical flower. The pods shifted, rotating outward. A brilliant light poured from within, illuminating the entire hollow interior of the sphere. And then they saw movement inside the pods. Figures. The builders were stirring. Custodian. Rains shouted. If you're going to act, now's the time. But the custodian didn't answer. Instead, its voice came through one last time, quieter, like a whisper carried by the wind. Then see them with your own eyes. Witness what your kind is so eager to unleash. The Venture's systems went dead. And the ship began to fall. The USS Venture plummeted toward the core, its systems dead, its crew bathed in the blinding glow of awakening. The core's petals spread wide, revealing a chamber that seemed to stretch forever, a cathedral built to house gods. Within it floated millions of crystalline pods, each one glowing now, each one alive with movement. Gravity's pulling us straight in. Lieutenant Pike shouted over the wail of alarms. We've got no control. Reroute emergency power to maneuvering thrusters. Captain Michael Rains barked. Already tried. Pike's hands flew over the dead console. Nothing's responding. Commander Tyler Brooks grabbed the rail as the deck tilted under them. Mike, we're being delivered. Rains' jaw clenched. To what? Evelyn Grant's face was pale as she stared at the screen. Look. The nearest pods had gone transparent, revealing the beings inside. They were tall, easily 8 feet, their forms elegant, their skin luminous like liquid silver. Their eyes were closed, but not for long. One of them moved. Its hand flexed against the crystal, fingers long and claw-like. Then, with a sound like glass cracking under extreme pressure, the pod split. The builder stepped free. It floated weightlessly, turning its head slowly toward the venture. When its eyes opened, the bridge went dead silent. Its gaze was bright and unblinking, like two miniature stars. And then, impossibly, it smiled. The custodian's voice roared across the sphere. No! Every orb in the interior blazed like a supernova. The entire Dyson sphere trembled. The builder extended its arm toward the venture. Energy flared around its hand. Brace! Brooks shouted. The ship jolted as an invisible force wrapped around it, suspending it mid-plunge. The builder tilted its head, curious, studying the fragile intruder that had dared to enter its tomb. And then, in perfect, unaccented English, it spoke. Children. Evelyn staggered back. It's speaking to us. Not to us, Rain said grimly. Add us. More pods were breaking open now. Dozens, hundreds. The core was filling with light as the builders awakened one by one, each turning its gaze toward the tiny ship that had triggered their return. This is it, Pike whispered. We're done. Not yet, Rains growled. Custodian. Do something. The custodian's voice thundered, almost desperate. I warned you. You would not listen. Now I must finish what I began. The bridges shuddered and cracked. Great beams of energy lanced from the sphere's structural supports, striking the core. Pods disintegrated by the thousands, reduced to vapor before they could fully open. The builders reacted instantly. Their bodies lit with their own power, and they struck back. Bolts of searing energy shot toward the sphere's walls, but the sphere held. For now. Captain, Evelyn said, her voice shaking, if this fight escalates, it could destabilize the entire structure. We're talking a blast that could wipe out half this sector. Can we get out of here? Rains barked. Engines still offline. Pike snapped. The custodian's voice returned, quieter now, strained. I can still collapse the core. It will end them forever, but it will consume everything inside. Your vessel will not escape. Rains gripped the rail. If you don't, they'll escape. And billions will die. Mike Brooks started, but Rains cut him off. This isn't about us anymore, Rains said. Custodian, do it. The custodian hesitated. And then, softly, thank you. The core blazed with unbearable light. Every remaining pod began to crack, but this time, not from within. The crystal disintegrated, turning to ash. The builders screamed, a sound that bypassed the crew's ears and went straight to their minds, a telepathic howl of fury and loss. The builder who had freed itself turned its eyes toward the venture one last time. And in that instant, Rains understood something chilling. It wasn't just anger. It was a promise. Then the beam struck. The core imploded, collapsing in on itself. The resulting shockwave slammed into the venture, hurling it backward through the vacuum. Consoles blew out in showers of sparks. Power's coming back. Pike yelled. Engines online. Get us out of here. Rains roared. The venture's thrusters flared, dragging the ship away from the core just as the entire chamber detonated in a blinding sphere of light. The shockwave chased them, ripping bridges apart, snuffing out the glowing orbs one by one. Approaching exit hatch. Brooks shouted. Punch it. The venture shot forward at maximum thrust. Behind them, the Dyson sphere convulsed like a dying star. They cleared the hatch a second before it slammed shut. And then there was silence. Stars returned. The sphere was once again a black, perfect shell against the void. No light leaked from within. No sound came over the calm. For a long time, no one spoke. The only sound on the bridge was the hiss of damaged systems cooling. Finally, Evelyn broke the silence, her voice raw. How many do you think survived? Rain stared at the sphere, which now glowed faintly, as if watching them. Enough, he said at last. Enough to make sure no one ever comes back. Brooks turned. You think they're still in there? Rains nodded. If even one made it through that collapse, they'll rebuild. And next time, there won't be a custodian to stop them. Evelyn shivered. Then what do we do? Rain's eyes were hard as steel. We warn everyone. Every colony, every system, every power in the galaxy. Whatever that was in there, it's not gone. It's just sleeping again. And if it wakes. He let the words hang. Set course for Earth, he ordered quietly. As the Venture jumped to FTL, the sphere shrank to a distant dot, silent, patient, and very much alive. And somewhere inside, in the darkness of the core's ruins, a single builder opened its eyes. It was smiling.